It's the Channel Mom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
Brought to you by the Healthy Marriage Project. Just click on one of their ads to find out about a healthy relationship workshop near you.
Like most radio hosts this morning, I've had to completely revamp my show because I could not talk about the subject matter that we were going to talk about, that we had planned, that we had scheduled, because of what unfolded in Connecticut yesterday. I am your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt, along with Dan and Shelley today. Welcome, Shell.
Good morning.
Okay, what else can we talk about? I don't think it's responsible to talk about anything else because we are supposed to be here for moms and for families and for children. And let's be honest, this tragedy in Connecticut has impacted our whole nation. And I imagine there are some people that don't want to hear anything more about it, but I know that it's affecting most moms that I know. And they want help and they want suggestions and advice about how to deal with this with their children and what they can anticipate in the coming weeks and what can they do for the folks in Connecticut. And we've got some answers for you there. We're going to have a licensed psychologist on today if you have questions or concerns or just need to vent. We here in Colorado have certainly been through our fair share of these things. Both Shelley and I have, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I want you to know that I thought a lot about this, about how I should handle the show today. I prayed about it. I have been praying for the people in Connecticut because it's heartbreaking. I've cried a lot, as a lot of moms have, because we're devastated for the moms who stood out in front of that school and had nobody come out to them because their children were among the 20 that died. 27 people total died at the school. They are now blaming a 28th death, saying it is connected to the school as well, but it was not in the school zone. 20 children, as we said. This is a little unorthodox, but I thought a lot about it last night, and I thought I want to do something to honor those folks. It's not going to be an exact count, but I want everybody just to think about them as whether you're driving in your car, whether you're listening via the internet, whether you are tuning into us in the old-fashioned way on your radio at home, or whether you're listening to this by podcast a little bit later. I am hoping that management will not get mad at me for this because we could lose a few people, but we're going to take 20 seconds of silence to remember the people that died and to pray and to meditate on those folks because they are Americans and we have lost them. So 20 seconds of silence for those folks. You know, this show is designed to love, coach, and encourage moms, and that does include the mothers in Connecticut. Here at Channel Mom, we really, really do care about mothers and their children and their families. We want families to do well. We want children to thrive. We want marriages to last when it's possible. And on a day like today, all of us know just a little bit more how important those things are. On a day like today, we're just a little bit more aware of how much we treasure our own children, how much we need our spouses if we have them, how much we love our families even when they're not perfect. On a day like today, I cannot ignore what most moms are thinking about because I know that I am. In the news business, I was in it for years as a television reporter. There is a constant concern that you are what people say you are, which is a vulture, and you fly in on these events and you stick your cameras in people's faces and you ask the most insensitive of questions, which is how are you feeling after somebody died or somebody lost a child. So when I was faced with doing the show today, I thought, I don't want to be just another insensitive reporter. And I think the thing that changes everything for me is that I have children. For many years when I was doing reporting, I did not yet have children. And then once I had children, everything changed. And I've been listening to other reporters and other anchors who have kids and seen how tough it is for them to report on the story. We're people just like everybody else, obviously. And so this impacts us just like everybody else, but we're not in the comfort of our living rooms getting the opportunity to cry if we feel like it, because I feel like crying, you know, and I know Shelley was concerned about doing the show today because she felt like crying too. I hope you'll understand and agree that whether we're in the reporter seat or you're out there listening to us on the radio, that we all must help each other with this tragedy. The shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut yesterday now goes down as one of the worst two, I believe, one of the top two school shootings in our nation's history. It has been blamed for 28 deaths, as I said, 20 of them precious, beautiful, little children. I heard somebody today say that this is Legos age children. This is Dora the Explorer age children. These are little kids that had Christmas presents that were already purchased for them, wrapped with big bows under the tree, and those presents will not be opened now by those children. In honor of the loss, I just want to concentrate on how we can respond to this as a people, even though we're not in Connecticut, many of us. But one reason these things happen is because we don't address them. And there are hurting kids. I mean, like, really, let's be honest, the person that did the shooting was essentially a kid who was obviously very, very, very disturbed. His brother was speaking about him, apparently had a couple conditions. This is just according to reports, but Asperger's and autism and some other things, which is certainly not to say that everybody with those conditions is going to do this sort of thing. But I think it's important that we talk about these things as families, that we take this opportunity to love one another, because when those things are lacking, bad things happen. I'm going to touch very briefly on the fact that Shelley and I have been through this. Dan has been through it in his own way. His mom was in a position where she had to call some people through the Columbine. I hope Dan's not upset that I'm saying this, but she had to call some folks because she was in an administrative position at Jeffco after Columbine, so she had to call some folks to see how they were doing. My husband and Shelley's husband were administrators at Platte Canyon High School 6 years ago when a gunman entered that school on September 27th, which happened to be my little boy's birthday. He was turning 8 that day. That gunman took the life of 16-year-old Emily Keyes and inflicted some very deep wounds upon the little town of Bailey, where I live, and that is where Platte Canyon High School is located. Both Shelley and I were not sure we could do this today because we've been through it. Shelley, you were actually in the school, so this kind of stuff brings back memories for you. Yeah.
That's why I'm not speaking much this morning.
Yeah, and that's okay. When I called Shelley yesterday, she said, I don't know that I can do this, and I think a lot of people feel that way. I did call John Michael Keyes yesterday because he's the father of Emily Keyes, who's now been gone for 6 years, and I said, is there anything you want to say? Because he's working on a couple of different projects that he wants to do to help spread school safety across the nation, and of course they have the I Love You Guys Foundation. So I spoke to John Michael, Emily Keyes' daddy, and he was very gracious, as he always is, and he just told me it was too fresh for him to say anything in public. But he did note that when these things happen, it affects a whole community. And I want to go a step further and say it affects a whole nation today. But I do know that it affected our whole community. And I think, in a way, John Michael's touched by that. And he knows that the whole community was suffering along with him. That is a bittersweet thing. That is a good thing and a bad thing when it affects a whole community. Because it affects a whole community. That's the bad thing, that everybody's mourning. The good thing is that they all have each other. And I remember specifically in Bailey, our town came together. It's interesting when these things unfold, folks, because, I think on our deathbeds, most of us know what matters. Most of us say, it was the love in my life. It was my family. It was God. It is my children. Those are the things that mean the most. Cars, houses, jobs, all that stuff falls along the wayside compared to our kids, our spouses, our loved ones, our parents, the list goes on. And I just want you to remember that feeling today. Gosh, I wish I could put the feelings in some ways after 9/11 in a bottle so everybody could carry them around with them, because we forget. And then we get wrapped up in the trivialities, and we get angry, and we get competitive, and we want to look around and see what the Joneses are doing, and we forget all about what really matters, and hugging our children. And I'm certainly not condemning a soul out there today, but I know that you all are feeling this way, so I just urge you to stay in that feeling of loving on your kids and helping them. We have a soundbite now from a little girl who was on the scene, a third grader from Sandy Hook Elementary, so here she is.
Well, we found like there was all these people, and we found out because there was like right near the window in our classroom, and like we saw like police officers, and we heard them on the roof and in our building.
Was everybody crying, scared, wanting their parents to come get them?
Yeah, they were, and then some people were even like they kind of felt they got a stomach ache.
Did you hear any gunshots or anything like that?
Well, police officers, like, they're kinda, because there's police officers, like, right out the door, like, trying to find the guy.
I can't imagine actually being a reporter in that situation, talking to those kids. I think I would have had a hard time walking up to them. But she was a stoic little girl and talked about what unfolded. You know, she made it sound kind of unemotional. I think probably because the cameras were on her, she sort of pulled it all together. But these are little kids. These are kindergartners. That's the thing I was breaking it down about yesterday. Not that it would have been better that they were 16, but when they're that small, that just seems...
They love school.
Yeah, that's right, Shelley. You said that. They love school. And we're going to talk about this coming up with the psychologist, but Shelley and I were talking about the fact that their parents are clutching their children today, not knowing where to send them. Here in Colorado, we now have a movie theater. We have schools. We have churches, New Life Church down in Colorado Springs. I don't know that we've had shopping malls yet, but many states have. And so people do not know where to send their kids for fear that something's going to happen to them. So there are parents all over the country clinging to their children today and mothers. And that's why we are here. We are here for moms and families. And we really want to be that place this morning where you can come and you can talk and you can listen and get some help and some comfort and some direction. So coming up, we do have Suzanne Simpson, a licensed psychologist and an expert on how to talk to your children, how to address their fears, how to handle this tragic situation in your own lives as adults.